No.
In 2011, $14 billion was appropriated to Title I programs underneath ESEA. The importance of this topic is because ESEA and Title I schools are prevalent across America, and so many schools are becoming Title I schools because of the lack of resources and the lack of funding that these schools have. I have seen Title I schools firsthand in my observations and in my classes researching. Lyndon Baines Johnson in 1965 implemented ESEA and specifically the Title I Act in order to help fund these schools and help them be on the right track.
Slides.
The history behind ESEA dates back to 1965. Lyndon Baines Johnson was a former teacher, so he understood the importance of making sure every student had equal opportunities within the school borders. He understood that it was important that every student had proper access to resources and proper access to tutoring and anything that they needed to be at the level of the rest of their peers. Since 1965, ESEA has been reenacted as No Child Left Behind and ESSA, which was under Obama's administration in 2015. Both of these reinforce the educational programs that ESEA did back in 1965 and use the successes from their programs to ensure that it was continuing on today. Mayor Spinoski's analysis, Do Federal Compensatory Education Programs Really Work of 1999, states that this program, ESEA, specifically Title I, was the first federal aid program specifically for the kids that were disadvantaged in schools. After knowing the history, you may be wondering what the purpose of Title I is. Title I main purpose is establishing aid. Title I schools are extremely impoverished. They don't have the resources necessary to make sure that their students are prepared for their exams. Most of the time they fail their state exams, which puts them at a higher priority for the Title I funding. Originally there were 5 titles underneath ESEA, but it became too complicated and too confusing, and all of the purposes were contradictory, so they created one title. LBJ also wanted the funding to go from general to specific so that the programs would specifically be given the aid and the financial support that they needed. Michael Kursk and Rachel Jung of the Utility of Longitude Approach in Assessing Implementation, a 13-year view of Title I, specifically stated that Title I is the most funded ESEA program. They get the most funding and they have the most success in ensuring that the money is being spent in adequate places. The second purpose is the cornerstone legislation of LBJ's War on Poverty. He wanted to make sure that the ESEA Foundation was part of his war on poverty because he understood how important it was that Americans backed behind him to make sure education was a priority. After understanding the history, you may be wondering why this is so important, and the main reason is because of reform. Many programs have become established because of Title I and because of ESEA's programs, and one example is Head Start. I have been in Head Start classrooms before, and I have seen the success that they have had in teaching their students and giving them the resources that they truly need to succeed in every area of education. Implementation of ESEA Title I, a program of compliance, Milbury and McLaughlin stated that Americans were really hoping that ESEA and Title I would help the poverty cycle end. They're hoping that through the programs of free lunch and through Head Start and through other various programs that the parents and the guardians would be able to spend their money in various ways instead of not allowing them to have the resources necessary for school. Concluding, I hope that you have seen how important Title I schools are to America and how important this title of ESEA is to educational reform and educational equality across the boards. Abraham Lincoln put it this way: the best way to predict the future is to create it. And this quote really sums up Title I. In order to have the best future, they needed to create this act, and each day students need to be able to create their future through the programs and the supplies that they are given through ESEA. Here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6.